first part of this video blew up. And in that video, I was giving tips on how I got a distinction for Afrikaans, but I spoke specifically about paper 1 Afrikaans and how you can do that as well. Now, after questions and comments and questions and comments and questions and comments, I decided that, okay, let me make part 2 of this video, which is speaking specifically about paper 2 and paper 3 Afrikaans. So stick with me.
I would like to get to know what could be.
Okay, so first of all, there are a few general tips that we need to get out of the way, right? Like for me, not for me only, but in general, right? The most important tip that I can give you in Afrikaans in general is to focus on language a lot, right? If you focus on mastering the likes of Stompy, right? The subject, verb 1, is it tense? No? Tense or time, whatever. Object, manner, place. Get the idea. If you master your Stompy and know how to manipulate language, right? You know how to play around with your language. This will help you be able to answer your paper 1 questions in your comprehension. You'll be able to answer your paper 2 questions, because the hardest part about Afrikaans, it's actually 2 things actually. 1, you understand the question, but you don't know how to structure your answer. Or you just don't understand the question itself, but you understand the story you studied, but the question is just not making sense. But if you worked on your language and you know, okay, when they say verduidelijk, they say explain. When they say onthou, they say remember. When they say byvoorbeeld, they say example. Those simple words that you know that you will find in an exam, right? Have them down. Have all those words going down. Words and phrases like opeenvolgende woorde, consecutive words. Words and phrases like kies, which is choose, right? Those type of words and phrases that you know that they are sure to come in an exam. Look at those words, study those words, and make sure when you get to an exam, the moment you see the question says, waarom, you know it's asking about what. When a question says, waarvoor, hoekom, you know exactly what it's asking you. But sitting there, understand the rest of the question, but you don't understand the main question word, waarvoor, hoekom, verduidelijk. That's very sure, but okay. You're about to alleviate that problem because you are about to take your time to write down all these words and know when they ask you, daarvoor, you know what you're doing, right? You know what you're doing. Now, this leads me directly to my first tip on paper 2, to be specific. So, in paper 2, I was doing 10 poems and a story, feel a second. It wasn't nice, but yeah. But yeah, so what I did was there were certain words that I knew I would either have to use or they would be there, and I want to know them, right? Knowing things like jambok, whippy. Knowing things like what, like to be worried, bekommerd, right? I knew Jorge. At times they'll ask Jorge, let's say for example, how did Barta feel about Elias beating up Lucas? And then you'll say, sy was bekommerd, she was worried, that type of vibe, you know. Sy was squai. Those, you learning all those words that you know that you are sure to need when you get there. I forgot what a mountain is. Berg. It's a berg. So you're able to say that Lucas went berg op berg op berg. Mountain over mountain over mountain. But if you don't know what a mountain is, you're going to sit in that exam, not know how to express yourself, and then you get the question wrong, but you understood it. So if you learn all those words that you know that you are sure to need these words, you know that you need to know what's a mountain, you know that you need to know what prayer is because they pray apparently. You need to know what kerk is, you need to know what an ocean is, you need to know the sea, you need to know just things that you know that you have to know, because when you're asked about them, you will have to use them in the context of that. And again, this links directly to my next point, which is learning words that can work in any context. For me, it was mostly moods. You know that they will ask you paper 1, paper 2 anyway. You will have to describe that someone was scared, someone was worried, someone was petrified, someone was exhilarated, someone was excited, someone was happy. knowing all those words and knowing words that work in their context in Afrikaans actually helps. You know, as I said, a previous example, someone who's worried says bekommerd. You know, the difference is as well between erken and herken. One of them means acknowledge, the other one means know, right? Know of. Knowing those words that you know that you might have to use, right? Your moods. You say someone is shouting. Knowing what you say when you say someone is shouting. Because you can see someone is shouting and the question says, what is that person doing? If you don't know what shouting is, then you're out of the game, right? So learn those words that you feel like, okay, let me learn these simple things. My moods, right? You learn colloquial language. You learn the themes of your poem. Okay, it's a sad theme. It's a very heartwarming theme. It's a heartbreaking, heart-shear. Make sure to learn those simple words and they will just integrate everything for you when you get to an exam. Trust me on that one. Now, another thing that you want to do in not only Afrikaans, but also in like the likes of English. In English, I was doing, what's that thing? I was doing a novel, the what Picture of Dorian Gray, yes. And then I was doing the drama. Who are those guys? Well, Elizabeth and Proctor. Them, the Crucible, yes. And what I had was mind maps of the characters and their characteristics, right? So even in Afrikaans, I would have things like Nina, right? I have a whole thing, it's a mind map, and then I point it to that character, Nina. How was she? I forgot this word in Afrikaans, but someone who speaks back to their parents, abo? And then you also say she was back or something like that. Like she spoke back. Things like she was rebellious. She was like knowing again those moods, those words that you might need when you get there. Describing someone's personality. Barta, how was she? She was a liar. She was someone who lies a lot, you know? And knowing the difference between lie, and lie. One of them is to lie, right? The other one is to lie down. And the other one is to lie, kulmamanga. I don't know if I make, it's fine. I know you go, like knowing those small differences will make everything easier for you. Because you also asked at times, Barta was which one? Lay or lay? If you don't know the spelling, you're out of the game again. And those 1 marks matter in Afrikaans for its traditional language. And anything else in exam, but the point here is, I want you to learn all those simple things using your mind maps, using summaries to make sure that this work that seems like 10 chapters, it seems like 20 chapters, you can make it seem like it's something that is easily attackable, if that's a word. So yeah, the point I'm trying to make is make summaries, make your short notes, and make sense of your work. And then when it comes to poems, right? When it comes to, I'm a poem. So when it comes to those, what I did was, okay, sure. First thing, greatest tip, biggest tip. Watch the videos that are sent by, who's that lady? Jeffro Nagel. Watch Jeffro Nagel's videos. Those videos, like those videos carried me. Like they literally carried me. What I'd do throughout the year was, I'd ask the teacher, okay, sure, dude, are we doing a poem tomorrow? They're like, yeah, which one? And then what I'd do is I'd go back home and then earlier the next morning, right? Since I said I was studying late at night or midnight when people are sleeping, right? So that night, I'll be going through a poem using Jeffro Nagel's videos and other videos if I can find them. And I use those videos, I go through my poems, right? Such that the next morning, when I get to school and I do these poems with my class, I already have an idea. I already know what the poem, because you know poems are very tricky in any subject whatsoever. It becomes even more difficult when the poem comes in Afrikaans. Because, you know, lama poem, they're like, the lady with the blue car, and then the next thing, she was expressing her mood by buying a blue car. Yeah. Since when do cars and moods mix? Like, I'm a poem, but it's fine. So what I did, like, I would go through the poems myself, right? Not myself, but using that YouTube video. And then I would use those notes. Like, I cannot emphasize, if there's one thing that you're picking up from this video today, it is to use Jeffro Nagel's channel for your Afrikaans poems. And I promise you, she will do you wonders. Like, I can give you my word on this one. Use videos to go through your poems. And also, with your poems and going through them, you need to, one, pick up the overall message of the poem. Focus on your literary devices, which is your onomatopoeia. I forgot what it's called in Afrikaans. Is it onomatopoeia? I don't know. Focus on your enjambament. Focus on typografische wit, those figures of speech. Is it Trappe van Weg? It's not. Okay, but focus on those things, focus on your literary devices. Focus on the overall message of the poem. Focus on the themes of the poem. And the likes of your rhyme schema, your rhyme schemes, right? Your kruis rhyme, paar rhyme, vrije vers, free verse. Knowing all those things about your poems will also allow you to be able to answer your questions when you get to an exam. And yeah, just poems are easy. Poems should be easy, to be honest with you. And then when it comes to paper 3, the biggest tip that I can give you is to have an essay pre-written. So with Afrikaans paper 3, you can more often than likely predict a question paper. There are always 4 picture topics and the rest are words. And those 4 picture topics, there'll always be 4 things. I hope I remember them. 1, it'll be a picture of something to do with a human being. 2, a picture of something that is an object. It can be a bicycle, it can be a book, it can be a pencil, a watch, whatever. And then 3, it will always be a picture of something to do with, I forgot what? I don't know. Yeah, playing, I don't know, something like that. And then the last one, it'll always be a picture to do with nature. It can be the palm of a dog, which was my exam. It can be a tree. It can be the big 5 animals. It can be just a lake, a waterfall, but there will always be a topic about nature. So what I did was I had an essay that I wrote in my June exams about nature. And in my June exams, I think I got 85% for that essay. And then I asked my Afrikaans teacher to edit it. When I wrote it, the teacher marked it, right? So I had it crammed. The teacher marked it. I edited it, obviously. When they marked, they also correct your errors. Now I wrote it again in an updated version. I wrote it in my prelim exams. And then I got 47 out of 50. I don't know how many percent that. I think it's 94%, yes. And then those 3 marks that I lost, I asked my teacher, edit it again. She did. I saw those 3 marks. And then what did I do? For the finals, I wrote that poem again, but in the edited version. So I'd like to assume that that is something that contributed largely to me getting a distinction in Afrikaans. So that's my biggest thing. Write a poem that is generic about nature. And okay, about anything, I don't know, but I highly suggest nature. This is the biggest tip or advice I can give you. It will save you, but yeah, that is the greatest thing that I can give you right now. Okay, now another thing to do with paper 3. You have your section A, which is your essay, right? Which is 50 marks out of 100 marks. And then section B, and then the section C. Section B is 30 marks, then section C is 20. With section B, they can only ask you a dialogue. They can only ask you a dialogue. They can ask you an interview, which is basically a dialogue. They can ask you an obituary. They can ask you an email, e-post. They can ask you a formal email and informal email. They can ask you a friendly letter and unfriendly letter. Is that a word? Unfriendly. It's fine. Unfriendly. No. Formal letter. Informal and formal letter. Okay, that. In section B, it's titled Lange Transactional text. And it's long transactional text. So I think they want 180 to 200 words for Afrikaans. Those are the things that they can ask you. I studied those and then I left some out because I know that I'll have to choose only one. Only one. And knowing that I have mastered language, I've mastered the Afrikaans language, all those things, right? I know that there's no way that this thing that I've mastered, the obituary, it can come in some language there that I don't understand. That's one thing that always phases people out. Even myself, when I was in matric, at times for my June exam, for example, I'd find that I know how to write a friendly letter, I know how to write a dialogue, but the instruction there, it's not make sure. It's just some snacks Afrikaans, and the dialogue now, that instruction is not clear. But the instruction of a book review is it's basic Afrikaans. Now you're forced to write that one, or you write one of a dialogue or the interview or the friendly letter, which you don't understand the subject, but you know the format. And your format carries 50% of the mark, right? So it's out of 30, the long transactional. 15 marks is for your format. So always make sure that you have the correct format. And then 15 marks is for whatever you have written down there. And then for section C, afdeling C, you have the korter transactionale text, which is the short transactional text, where you can be asked for a dagboekenskriving, you can be asked for a plakkaart, so you can be asked for a diary entry, yes. You can be asked for a poster or flyers. You can be asked for richting inschrijven, directions. You can be asked for directions. So even with that, that's where it comes, this thing of me saying cram some words, right? Cram things that you know you're gonna need. You know that when you're gonna write about directions, you're gonna need go straight, gaan reg uit. You're gonna need turn left, draai links. You're gonna need I don't know, a roundabout, a robot. You will see something on your left, you will turn right. Those basic words. You know that when you write a diary, you're gonna need to know Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Afrikaans. You know that you're gonna need to say it is lovely talking to you. And I also cram that as well. I'm like, okay, if I write a friendly letter or I write a diary, I know how I'm gonna end my diary. I cram that phrase. I knew when I enter there, I'm gonna say that was lekker om sommer met jou te gesels. It was lovely to speak to you. And that sounds some beautiful Afrikaans. If all else fails, cram and cram. Like, you know, Afrikaans first generation language is easy. You can cram these simple things. You don't have to cram everything, but like things that you know you definitely will need when you get there. Cram those things and make your job easier. The last few tips that I can give you is that days leading up to an exam, you want to do as many past papers as possible. This might sound snacksnyana, but I promise you, Afrikaans, the only way that you can get better is to do past papers. I think for my prelim exams, I did how many past papers? I would estimate plus minus 10. And then for my final exams, I think I did plus minus 15 past papers. And it just doesn't take too much time, you know? Because it's not like you want to do an essay in your past paper. Why? Because you crammed your essay already. So that 50 marks is in the bag. So what you do is, you're only, like for Afrikaans paper 2, you only do the 35 marks that matters, right? You know, it's 70 marks, your whole question paper. It's 2 hours. So I'd sit down, take out a past paper. I know 35 marks is my short story, feel a second, and then 35 marks are the 2 poems. I do it again with another past paper. I do it again with another past paper. And as I keep going, I see how common the questions are asked. I see, again, the thing of, okay, this word comes out a lot, this word comes out a lot, like that, like that, like that. I see the structure of my questioning. I see how they can ask something. And if you see that there was a question there, then you go, you read up about it, you translate it, such that if they were to ask some question like that or ask that question, now you know you're going to get it right. So doing past paper will help you to become better and better and better and better and better each time. The next tip might sound a bit unconventional, but watch Afrikaans TV or listen to Afrikaans music. What I did was I didn't watch Afrikaans TV, but I listened to Afrikaans music, and that helped me formulate my paragraphs and sentences in answering Afrikaans in the likes of paper 2 and paper 3, right? So one of the songs that I liked was a song by Leah. What is it? Met jou klere on, with your clothes on. And somewhere it says, wat is daai ding wat ons mag? What is that thing that we so long for? And I wouldn't have known that phrase in J. But the fact that I tried listening to Afrikaans music, that was able to help me. So in an exam now, I'm able to use that word structure. Wat is daai ding wat ons mag? I can write something along those lines, twist some words, you know? It says, wat is die lekkerste ding om te doen met jou klere on? What is the best thing that you can do with your clothes on? But yeah, that's what the song says. So now I know, wat is die lekkerste ding om te doen? I was somewhere in my essay, there was something along the lines of, is die lekkerste ding om te doen. Now I know, gore, that's the word structure, that's the correct way of saying it, you know? And had I not listened to the song, I wouldn't be well versed in answering like that. And that was me also changing my phone language to Afrikaans. So if your phone can do it, change it to Afrikaans for the duration of your exams. So when someone would call, to reject a call, the word reject, weier, answer, antwoord. So when I got to an exam now, I'm trying to answer something like, Lucas tried running away, and what did Elias do? Elias said no. If I don't know how to say Elias didn't allow him to go, I can say weier, weier. He rejects. It makes sense. Afrikaans first generation language don't give you a benefit of the doubt. All I did was use something that I kept seeing each time someone was calling me. Weier is to reject. So I just used that word. So familiarizing yourself with seeing Afrikaans words every now and then will make your job easier for you. In the final exams, paper 1, they ask for the abbreviation of the month November, whether it is a dot, doesn't have a dot. And my phone was in Afrikaans. I just saw the date today, dog. I literally saw what the abbreviation for November is. So I didn't even have to think, what does it have a full stop, does it? Because I just saw it, right? So getting yourself so close and accustomed to the language allows you to do better at it. And now, the best thing that I can give you now as a tip, the biggest thing I can give you now as a tip is to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe that you can do this. Yeah? Believe that you can do this. God will not take you this far just to take you this far. He knows what he's doing. The man has prepared the path for you. He's just now preparing you, right? And I'd like to give a huge shout out and thank you to the people that I asked in compiling the tips for this video. The likes of Palesa, Trust Lord, Amu, the likes of Karabo, and Luzwane, who is also a YouTuber actually. And she gave me these tips. They all gave me these tips. I texted them asking for their help and they did. So all these things that I said are not only my view and the things that I did, but also them, because they too did relatively well in Afrikaans. So yeah, I hope that this video helped you. I hope that you like this video. And yo, man, I guess I just gave you a part 2. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.